Hiya, my name's Savannah Marshall and you're watching Sport and Icons.
So according to many online articles, the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder Part 3 fight, the rubber match, has now been cancelled. Reason being is that they had a certain time frame that they had to complete it in and they fell short of it. Now, what this means is basically their original contract, which of course was meant to be having their third fight in July, no later than August. Of course, an extension was given before anybody starts saying it's nobody's fault about the coronavirus, blah, blah, blah. But an extension was given and they still couldn't get it done. Now, depending on what side of the fence that you sit on, if you're Team Wilder, you'll blame Team Fury. If you're Team Fury, you'll blame Team Wilder. Truth is, we don't know right now. But of course, various scenarios could have hampered this particular fight from happening within the time frame of the rescheduled contract. Because is it a case of Team Fury, they sent in offers, they sent in the dates and the venues, and maybe Fox Sport, who of course represents Team Wilder, they weren't happy with certain dates because it clashes with other things, or even Showtime even, or the PBC weren't happy. Team Wilder weren't happy with certain things, so maybe they just didn't send the contracts back on time. Maybe that's one reason. Another reason could be that, as we know, Bob Arum and that is so adamant about that this fight should only happen if there is a crowd. Why? Because of gate revenue. Okay, it's all about money. But the truth is, if that is the reason, the authorities who oversee this contract can quite easily look at this one and go, well, boxing has been continuing. People have been fighting behind closed doors. Just because Fury and Wilder and the teams involved don't want to fight behind closed doors and want crowd participation, that's nobody's fault and nobody's problem but your own. And that's the truth of it, isn't it? And because of that, maybe that's why that this contract is now expired. So Fury no longer has to fight Wilder, but he could still do it. He could say, you know what, I want to give him a voluntary defense anyway. But legally now, he doesn't have to, if we're to believe the online sources. So what does this mean? Well, Fury, he wants to be out in December anyway, and it looks like that he's going to be fighting in the UK. So, of course, yes, he's going to now have to reapply for his British Boxing Board of Control licence. But there won't be any issues. I know people talk about the farmer and this, that, and the other. Trust me, there's going to be no issues with any of that, okay? And, of course, there's a clear path to a Anthony Joshua fight, isn't there? But Bob Arum, who, of course, co-promotes Tyson Fury, also co-promotes Kubrat Pulev. So Bob Arum, he would have been in the know as to exactly what all the situations were and the timelines and everything. So therefore, when Anthony Joshua signed to fight Kubrat Pulev about a week or two ago, Bob Arum would have known. So now Joshua is contractually obliged now to fight Kubrat Pulev because he's already signed on the dotted line for December the 12th. So could this fight still happen in December? I mean, it could, but it will probably mean that Kubrat Pulev, in addition to getting paid a whole lot of money, could end up getting a vacant IBF World Heavyweight title. In other words, Joshua Fury would not be for Undisputed. So is that the route they're going to go? I would say, at a guess, no. But of course, I could be wrong on this one. But I strongly believe that Fury, he will make a defense against anybody in the top 15, because as WBC World Heavyweight Champion, he has to fight somebody in the top 15. He can pull out whoever it is that he wants to fight, but they must be ranked in the top 15. And Joshua, he will fight Kubrat Pulev on December the 12th. Once these two get past their next fight, whomever it may be for Tyson Fury, then I think that we're looking at a spring fight for the first of two fights between Joshua and Fury. But no guarantees in anything. Whoever it is that Tyson Fury fights, who knows? Maybe they're going to pull out a punch from the gods. Maybe Kubrat Pulev is going to pull out a punch from the gods against Anthony Joshua and wreck this whole thing. So it's a risk, however, minor risk, depending on who it is that they're going to fight. I would imagine that Tyson Fury will probably look at one of the weaker guys from the top 15, in all honesty, right? But it is what it is. I mean, he could, in theory, or maybe he could, I don't know, because Tyson Fury, he has no mandatory right now, because obviously Dillian Whyte, he lost to Povetkin, and he was the mandatory. Povetkin is not the mandatory, he's the interim World Heavyweight Champion, okay? So he's not the mandatory, but he could he potentially disrupt Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin Part 3 by pulling Povetkin out of that fight and giving him a voluntary? Maybe, potentially, as he is the interim champion, maybe he may give a voluntary to Dillian Whyte. I don't know, but I would imagine that there'd probably be some kind of legal repercussions if they did. But again, I'm not exactly in the know as far as that whole situation is concerned. But just look up and down the WBC rankings, the top 15. Any one of those could be whoever it is that Tyson Fury decides to fight. But for all intents and purposes now, because of the Wilder situation, Fury no longer has to fight Wilder. Maybe he'll do it as a voluntary. Who knows? Who knows? But it's pretty unlikely now. As I said, whose fault it is, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be plenty of the Wilder fan channels out there blaming Fury and blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, that's what they're going to do. And that's what's going to get the views. And that's what they're going to keep on with their narrative. Okay? Until we find out otherwise. And at that point, it's too late. Okay? They've already got the views. They've already got all their super chats and everything. Hey, it is what it is. But the truth is, we don't know why this fight fell apart, to be honest with you. Why did it go past the expiry date? Who knows? Anyway, that's the situation. We'll have to wait and find out exactly what's going to happen with regards to Fury and Joshua. But as I said, I do believe that Fury will do a voluntary defense of his world title in December. Joshua will fight Kubrat Pulev on December the 12th. Then these two, all going well, will then fight early spring. But Wilder, for all intents and purposes right now, is out the picture. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.